Welcome to Mountains Made Low, where we help you encounter the love of God and live well in the modern world. I am Christine Reagan.
And I'm Dennis Mueller.
And this is another Coffee Talk episode.
Yeah. You
don't really commit to things, and so I have a hot beverage. I can't remember the last time you brought a hot beverage to something like this. But no. I have what am I drinking today? I am drinking oh God.
Is that the whole reason why you said, I'll be right back, I'm going to go get some tea?
Well, I needed some tea.
Oh, you needed some tea.
But if I can also shame you publicly for not being all in on our little gimmicks.
I just think it's rude to be drinking things while I'm trying to talk to people, so.
Really?
Yeah. But you do you.
It doesn't bother me at all.
I know it doesn't.
No, I haven't lost sleep in a very long time. I think this is a lemon ginger tea.
Very good.
Which is good. So it's medicinal,
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got.
Have you had any tea today?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
All right. Well, we invite you to get your own hot beverage and to listen to us address some questions. We actually have a question from a listener, which is very cool. So we'll talk about that today. And we just have some casual things we're going to throw back and forth. We do know the questions. We're not doing what we did last time, where we're just going to spontaneously question each other. That historically doesn't go well, but it makes for really good content. Mm-hmm. And what do you want to start with?
I think it's good because, one, you don't have any notes today. So this is good.
No notes.
You didn't come in prepared with notes for this.
You were so upset last time. You're like, Christine, you have a full page of notes. God forbid I be prepared to express my thoughts.
You're supposed to be able to talk about things off the cuff. I mean, that's what a coffee talk is.
There's so much going on up here. It's best for everybody if I organize it just a little bit.
It's nice that we have the questions ahead of time because then we know exactly what we're talking about.
But there's no spontaneity.
Rather than, asking a question and then changing what you want from the answer when you don't get what you receive. Because that happens a lot with your questions. But here we go. So, which one do you want to start with?
Different minds are for different people. I am for some people and you are for some people. I don't know who those people are, but you are for somebody.
Okay. All right.
All right. What do you want? You start with whatever.
Is it ever okay to lie?
Oh, I don't start with that one.
I think it's a good one. Let's just jump right in. Why you said?
I know.
People, do you see what I have to deal with? Start with anything. I start with.
I forgot we had that one. I forgot we had that one.
You have the questions in front of you, Christine.
I wasn't looking at it. That is a good one.
It is a good one. That's why I'm starting with it. You just want me to start with something else because you haven't had time to think about it? No.
I genuinely forgot that we wrote that down. I think you should always, this is a cop-out question or cop-out answer. I think you should always try to tell the truth. Is it ever okay to lie? No. I think objectively we have to say no. Are all moral circumstances equivalent? No. So, I mean, should you always try to tell the truth? Absolutely. But, I mean, give me an example.
Well, no, make up your own example. Why don't I have to give you an example?
If it's something that is of, serious consequence, if it involves grave matter, then no, you should not lie about those things. But, do I lie to my kids all the time about little things? Probably. How does this work? Or you know what I just did? Oh, here's a good one. Oh, this is a good example. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So, my kids, 2 weeks ago, asked to go to the library. And we'll do a library day. And a couple seconds later, I thought, oh no, it's June. I walk into the library and there's just pride stuff everywhere. And even kid-related pride stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I said was, I think the library's closed in June. Could I have said something else? I'm sure. Is it a lie? Yes. Although it's closed at different times in June. So but is it for their benefit that I don't take them there and expose them to that stuff? Yeah. Could I have said something else? Of course. But do I think that that's a serious infraction on my morality? No, I don't. So what are your thoughts? Can I say what my son did? My son goes, "It's closed the whole month of June." I was like, that's strange. He just thought that was, he moved on.
Yeah.
But he did find it suspect.
Sus, yeah. A little sus for him. Yeah.
I say suspect. You're the one with sus. Oh my gosh. What I easily could say, I could have said, I'm sorry, I can't take you there today. And then done that for 30 days. I could have done that. I chose to tell a little white lie.
Well, see, I mean, I heard a homily one time from a priest and it was down in Delaware. It was very good. It was a good homily. And he was talking about this, and he said, he says, lies do not come in sizes. He says, there's no such thing as a little lie. He says, they don't come in colors. There's no such thing as a white lie. A lie is a lie is a lie. I think no matter what you do, it's like when you lie, it's sinful, but then you kind of get into the degree of moral
Seriousness,
and seriousness, the morality of it. How is it serious sin? Is it venial sin? And certainly what you are doing there in that example, a lie is a lie, but it would be venial. It would certainly, because there's no gravity to all of that
Right.
stuff. And I think sometimes we try to do things for the right reasons. Like again, how often do we lie to one another because maybe we don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings? Oh, what do you think about this haircut? Oh, you look fabulous.
Oh, I've told you that though.
Right? You look fabulous. That outfit looks great on you. Oh, you look so great. And
you want to know what Dennis did last week? He walked into my office here. We were going to record, and first thing out of his mouth was, "What's up with your hair today?" It's literally what you said to me last Friday or Thursday.
But what was the follow-up to all that?
Oh, some desperate recovery on your part.
It wasn't desperate recovery.
You were like, "Oh, it looks. I like your hair." Like, yeah, no, it looks good, Christine. Yeah.
Because
you broke the sound barrier with your decibel level. Having said that, my hair looked bonkers because of the wind that day.
Well, it was all wavy and curly, and you usually wear it straight. And so I was just making a comment because it was different,
right,
and everything. And I know how self-conscious you are. So if I lead with that, it's great because I know that it kind of gets you a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Do you understand my distinction, though, between you shouldn't lie, you should always try to tell the truth? They're not the same thing. But I think if you're always striving for the truth, then you lie less and less.
Okay.
And that's a better place to be.
So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, the question is it ever okay to lie?
Well,
this, by the way, is your question. This is what you texted me the other day.
Well, because I think it's a good question. Okay. There's a lot there.
But you haven't answered it yet.
Is it ever okay to lie? No. In the sense, is it ever permissible? No. Maybe a better question would be, and here I go changing the question and you're going to balk at that, but is it ever that's never necessary to lie. Like, would you lie to save somebody's life?
Ooh, like what would the context be?
Let's put yourself in like a Mission Impossible movie situation and information. If you're Tom Cruise and you know things that you're not supposed to know and you don't reveal the things that you know for the safety of other people or like people that are in intelligence and the military and stuff like that. Is it okay does it qualify itself as a lie?
Well, not revealing something doesn't qualify as a lie.
Okay.
I'm withholding information. A lie is a definitive statement that you're making.
Right. But if you're not representing, let's say you're an undercover, whatever, like Tom Cruise is, and you're not representing yourself authentically and you're posing as something or someone else, that's a lie. It's a misrepresentation of who you are. Is it ever okay to do that in a special, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it ever okay? I think for our purposes, like the normal everyday person, don't lie.
Yeah.
You don't have to lie. Do I think that it's a complicated issue? I think the truth is incredibly complicated. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't think the truth is incredibly complicated at all. The truth is the truth. There's nothing complicated
The telling of the truth.
I don't think the telling of the truth is incredibly complicated.
Okay, well, I just posed to you a complicated
scenario. Well, that's not the truth. You're talking about deception. You're not talking about the truth.
To tell the truth, I'm saying to tell the truth all the time is easier said than done.
Well, maybe.
Do you go through a whole day and tell the truth in every situation, every circumstance?
I try to.
You try to.
Because
it's not easy. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not easy. It's because I'm making a deliberate choice not to. Yeah, I think sometimes when we choose to lie, it's the easier option. Like, so to use your example with your children, it's a lot.
I found my response entertaining. I would also say that I said what I said because I thought it was funny, and I got a little chuckle to myself, and that was satisfying in the moment.
Well, so
I could have gone about it a million different ways.
So you did that for two reasons. one, because it was satisfying to you. And two, it was a lot easier to say the library was closed than have to explain the real reason why you didn't feel comfortable.
No, would it have even been appropriate, though?
I think as a parent, you just need to go with the good old safe answer, and it's like, just say no. And when they say why, it's because I said so.
Yeah,
right?
I could have done that.
Then you don't have to worry about lying, and you're just acting on your authority.
So is it ever okay to lie? No. Do we lie? Yes. Should we always try to tell the truth? Yes. Is that always going to be the case? No.
Yeah. And when we make that choice to lie, there's going to be different levels of gravity.
And do you have anything else to add?
No. I just think it's important for people to understand that we don't want to rationalize the choice that we make. Just own
Right.
it. Like if you're going to lie, and even if you think it's for a good reason, like, for your children, just own it. Just know that you're making a decision to lie there. It's still something we need to confess. It's venial sin. It's always something that's really good to
Yes,
bring to confession.
I'm not denying any of that.
No, I know, and I know you're not.
Yeah.
But it is something that we still want to bring to confession. I think sometimes we just kind of dismiss those little things.
Mm-hmm. And the more you do these dismissive little things,
The easier it
it
becomes
is
to do it.
to lie about big things, because you're like, well, it didn't turn on me that time. It didn't. It may have, and you just don't know about it. Who knows?
Right.
So it does compound itself over time. It's like a tumbleweed effect.
Yeah. So we don't want to rationalize the choice that we're making in any sense. I mean, just own it for what it is. A lie is a lie. I don't know if that was helpful.
It's entertaining, probably.
For you.
This is an episode where I want to put like a poll up. I've tried to do that before. I don't think I was successful, but I want to know what people think.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Do you want to pick the next one?
You have them in front of you.
Okay.
Just do it.
What is one thing someone could do to change their relationship with God for the better today? If somebody
answered first last time. You answer first this time.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
All right. No, that's fine.
I'm giving you what you asked for. And now you're
for
like,
me-
Christine, could you take it?
For me, I would say if somebody was looking to change their relationship with God for the better, I would begin with a conversational prayer. For me, that's...
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I mean, that's the starting point. If you want to change your relation, what's the primary way that we engage God in relationship? It's through prayer. And so if you're looking for a change in your relationship with God, the first conversation that I think we should maybe have with ourselves is, what does my prayer life look like? If God seems distant from me, am I spending enough time with him in prayer during my day? If I'm only talking to my wife for maybe about 2 minutes a day over the next 3 weeks or so, it's going to have an impact on our relationship. So am I spending quality time? And there's all different forms of communication. Like when we talk with people, we shoot off text messages, we communicate in brief ways through social media and everything, and that's all a form of communication. But there's a difference between talking at somebody and talking with somebody. And so do we spend real conversation in prayer? I can sit down and I can do a rosary, the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I can do a couple of novenas, and I am certainly praying. But am I being with God in those moments of prayer, or am I doing things? So I might be talking to God through those prayers, but am I spending some real quality time being with the Lord in prayer? So that's one of the things I would say. If you're looking to maybe change or deepen your relationship with God, I think one of the starting places there is just to examine what you're doing for prayer if you're looking for an improvement in your relationship with God.
I think it's a good answer. I would take it maybe a slightly different direction, because I think the question is, what's something, because you want to change your relationship with God is the question, right?
What is one single thing someone could do to change their relationship with God for the better today?
I would go to church. I would go to a church. I would, because I think that would be a different approach. Because I just hear so many people say, well, I pray, I communicate with God. So let's do something that you might not be doing.
Yeah, but that's to that response, and I hear that response because I hear that in ministry.
You're saying the response of people.
Yeah, like well, I pray,
yeah.
And but my follow-up question then, using the Socratic method, is to look at them and say, well, what does that look like?
Right.
Tell me what that looks like.
But I think there's something about what people are often resistant to do, especially Catholics, to have their relationship with God prosper, is so many people don't go to Mass. So many people don't go to church. So if you want your relationship with God to change, I'm assuming, maybe it's an unfair assumption, but maybe there's some resistance to Mass. There's some resistance to church. Because so many people, we've 83% of people don't go to Mass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's changing a little bit, but I'm kind of speaking to that 83%. What would I encourage you to do today? Go to church and just sit there. Because maybe they don't even know how to pray to begin with. Maybe they're in that space. Yeah. And so why don't you just go sit in the presence of God and see what happens? And so it's almost minimal effort because you don't know where to start. Perhaps some people are intimidated by prayer overall. They want to say the right words. They want to seem pious or something, and they don't know what to say. And so I would say just go sit in the presence of God. Find an adoration chapel somewhere. Find a Mass, find a daily Mass, or just find a church that's open during the day and go to the place where God dwells. That's what I would tell them to do. Yeah. And the next day I would tell them to do it again. And I really think their relationship with God will change for the better.
Yeah.
Because it might be that missing piece that hasn't happened. Maybe they're disconnected from the church, and I want to re-engage them with Christ in his church.
I don't disagree with any of that, but even though that's the ultimate, because I mean, to what you're talking about, that's the ultimate goal. That's, to be adoration, to go to mass. That's the ultimate.
No, the ultimate goal is to fully participate.
Right.
I'm telling you to go sit.
Right.
Yeah.
But my hesitancy, and this is just me, I'm not disagreeing with you. My hesitancy is starting there, is that sometimes people don't know where to look, especially if they've been away from the church. They don't know where to look. And too often it's a waiting game. Like if somebody's coming to me and they're like, what can I do? Like, well, get to mass on Sunday. Well, Sunday, this is Monday. Now they got to wait 7 days before they can do on Sunday. And a lot can happen in that 7 days.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the ability to get daily mass is limited. Sometimes adoration can be a little tricky. Not all parishes have a daily adoration chapel or things to access. Or sometimes you're like, well, just go sit in the church and pray. And they go to the church and the church is locked, right?
Well, and I said, go find a church that's open if you can find it.
Yeah. But with regards to prayer,
like
prayer, I think is a great place to start. And I'm not saying that my what I'm offering is better than yours. Yours is where we want to get to, but I think sometimes the passageway needs to start a little bit. There's an immediacy. Like I can do this right now. I can talk to you, and in the next 15 minutes, I can just jump into this and do it. And hopefully, by working on a prayer life, it's going to create a hunger for you to want even more. And that's where we can kind of lead into, well, let's work out some time. Let's look for an adoration chapel. Let's make time to get there. Let's if we're not going to mass on Sunday, well, let's get back to that. If we are going to mass on Sunday, is there another day that you can kind of tap into daily mass? That's the path that I would take. But I hear what you're saying.
I'm simply emphasizing a little bit more like presence over prayer. Now, I think presence is prayer because you're in communication with God by virtue of where you're existing in that moment. Mm-hmm. I just think there are some people out there that do struggle with prayer. They don't know how to get it going. And so go sit in the presence of God and see how you are moved to pray.
Yeah.
Because of how close you are to him. Now, can you be close to God in prayer? Yeah. But I think the invitation of going into the church just draws you closer. And your prayer may burst forth from that in a way that will change your relationship. I'm thinking of what will really change. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody prays, well, I'll pray tomorrow and I'll pray the next day and I'll pray the next day. And I if they're disconnected from the church, I want to move them closer into the presence of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to drink my tea. This is excellent, by the way. I just love this. Are you a ginger fan?
I like ginger.
I love ginger. I love ginger teas. I love ginger everything. Okay. I feel very healthy when I do it.
Very good.
All right.
As long as you're feeling good, that's all.
Well, Christine, we know you need to be in good health. So that's my cup.
What do you think about Pope Leo's visiting with the new Lady Archbishop of Canterbury? I know that you had some strong opinions on this.
I think it's an interesting development. I don't have strong opinions on it. I think it's the only option. You absolutely have to, and you should do it. All I find interesting about it is the reactions that people have to it, on kind of both polar opposites of the church, mm-hmm. Maybe the more liberal wing versus the more traditional wing.
Well, what are those reactions?
Well, the liberal wing will see, and I don't even like these terms. I really, really don't. I just don't know what else to use. We'll see it as a step towards female ordination in some way. Like, look, he's dining and he's entertaining the female Archbishop of Canterbury. The very first one, it's a signaling of we're going to have women's ordination right around the corner. That's not going to happen. And then on the more traditional side, the very traditional side rather, they think it's like, oh, why would he even be in her presence? It's a sanctioning of something that is just so heretical and antithetical to what we believe. So, whereas I think it's absolutely the right move, and anything else only fosters more division.
So
you can be in the presence of people and not normalize everything they're saying, not affirm everything that they say and do and believe, but in a spirit of charity. What would Jesus do? That I'd never say that, because I think people abuse that phrase, but you should welcome people into the church who are not members of the church. You should welcome them. I think that's what he did. Any newly elected Archbishop of Canterbury would have been invited. But she was a woman, and I think that's what bugged people.
Okay. I can go now?
You can go
okay.
now. Yeah.
But what makes it the right move?
I think it's an exercise in charity.
Okay.
I think it fosters unity among Christian communities and ecclesial communities and denominations. I think it is a sign of dialogue and peace in the world. And I think that's a good example. I thought what he did was the right example. And we don't need to read into things that are not there. What did he do? They talked about things they had in common. They did differentiate belief at times in that conversation and when they were interviewed publicly. But I think as much as you can talk about the things you have in common, you should, and see what further unity can come from that, led by the Holy Spirit. So I think it's the right move because you're showing love and respect for other belief systems that bear the truth. And so I think that's good. I think that's good. I think it's the right move. I'm not saying that what the election of a female archbishop or having women in the clergy is the right thing for the Anglican Church to do. But if they're going to do it, can we invite them into an experience of our faith where and when it's appropriate? It's not going to be liturgically appropriate, but can we do what he did? Yeah, I think that's entirely up for play, basically.
What was that again? What did you just
What did I
say?
say?
About what's like liturgically appropriate?
They're not going to share in our liturgy.
Oh, okay.
You know, they're not going to, it's not liturgically appropriate
Right.
to
Okay.
have them participate in the liturgy. Like if an Orthodox priest or if there's a patriarch or something else, I mean, there are things that are more liturgically appropriate where you can have them participate more in the liturgy. It's not going to be that way for the female Archbishop of Canterbury.
Right. Okay.
So in the areas where we can include, even in conversation, I think that's valuable.
So for those of you who are listening or might be wondering what that context might be, like maybe an ecumenical prayer service, we would be able to maybe do something together, but we wouldn't be able to do any type of an official liturgy within the church.
No sacraments would be celebrated.
Yeah.
So what do you think about him inviting her to the Vatican?
When you brought this up to me a while ago when it happened,
you probably didn't even know it happened because you don't know anything.
I didn't. I'm not really tracking those things. I know that you look into things daily and everything. I'm just a little bit more detached with that. I have more important things on my to-do list. I don't have enough leisurely time.
Backhanded compliment.
To,
oh my gosh.
To be doing all this stuff. But to be honest with you, I really don't have an opinion one way or the other. But I do agree with you that I think sometimes the optics of that can be sensationalized depending on which polar end of the spectrum you lie on. And it's often magnified by both ends of the spectrum. I think it's unhealthy. I think it's sad when those things happen, but that's not a papal issue. That's a people issue. Mm-hmm. You know, when they do those things. Yeah.
Did you just make that up right now?
Just right now. That's how I roll.
Can you imagine the optics, you say? Can you imagine the optics if he declined to invite her into the Vatican for a conversation or for tea or whatever? That's worse.
The optics would be the same. You would have strong reactions on either side. It would be seen as offensive to maybe someone on the more liberal side of things, and it would be lauded by the by the people on the opposite end. You know?
Yeah, I just think it would.
And again, it's all for
been the wrong thing to do.
I agree.
To deny her,
it would have been for the wrong reasons.
I mean, if we believe that the Catholic Church is the fullness of faith, and to deny somebody access to the truth, I think that would be wrong.
Right.
I do. And I don't think we need to make any more out of it than he invited her to his home to say welcome to whatever good she's going to participate in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree with you, but I don't have any strong opinions one way or the other for this.
Okay.
You had a question from one of our listeners.
Oh, I did. Okay. So I'm not going to give all the circumstances. I'm reading the question as it was posed to me, but I'm going to keep it to, we have a listener who had a dear friend who passed away and was affiliated with the church at varying levels throughout his life, but in the state of his death called himself an atheist and did not want to have a funeral mass. This is a baptized Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. Did not want to have a funeral mass. And the family had one after he passed. And so her question was, if it wasn't the expressed desire of the deceased, is it still okay to have a funeral mass for them?
Well, there's a couple of things going on here. The first is the realization, if things aren't explicitly expressed in a will, your family's going to do what they want to do anyway.
Right.
I might be on my deathbed and say, I don't want a Catholic Mass, but my family is like, okay, but you're going to have a Catholic Mass. I've had conversations with like that with members of my own family because I'll tell them, well, then don't put me in charge.
Right.
I'm letting you know, if this is your goal, then don't put me in charge because it's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you
You just
right
have
now.
like hymns outlined for everybody. It's like, well, if and when that time comes, I'm ready to go.
Right.
And these are your hymns.
I have your liturgy planned. I am ready to rock the second that you hit the floor. So
everyone's dying in dramatic fashion.
I know. So you have to be aware of that. Okay. But the second thing that we have to be aware of too is that just by virtue of our baptism, we are Catholic forever. You can't undo that. There's an ontological change in your being that takes place in the sacrament of baptism that can never be undone, that can never be repeated. Okay. I know people in our families who have been baptized multiple times, and every single time, like I hear that from them, I'm like, well, you got wet. You know? Because you were baptized as a Catholic by your mom and dad when you were an infant. Sorry, bro. It's a one-shot deal, right?
Be honest with me. Have you ever said that right to them?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I
It's
have.
great.
So just because of that, just because of the fact that they are baptized Catholic, they have a right to be able to access the sacraments. Apart from a formal declaration where they would formally renounce the church. And I don't really think that this happened here in this type of situation at all. I think he just said, I'm an atheist. And most of the times, sometimes that comes about through different struggles and things. There's a lot of reasons why people come to not believe in God.
And it leads to like this theological, spiritual ignorance.
Yeah.
And
so, but unless there's a formal renouncement.
Which is called what?
Apostasy. Yeah, apostasy.
There's not too many legitimate apostates. We can do things that kind of represent, what's the word?
Well, you don't have to
apostate lifestyle. Like we can act in a spirit of apostasy all the time, but to be a definitive, professed, renounced, apostate is something that's really only happens in dramatic public fashion. That's not happening in the life of the ordinary person.
Well, to some degree, but you have to remember too, like if I'm Catholic, if I'm baptized Catholic and I become Jewish or I become Islamic, I'm an apostate because I am
right,
because those religions deny the divinity of Jesus.
Right, but in the same way that like people say, well, you've excommunicated yourself. Excommunication is a public declaration for those that are really in public life for a particular purpose,
Right.
and the church does it. I think apostasy falls under the same.
No, I don't think it does.
All right, well, we're gonna find out.
I think like I would become an apostate, and because there's apostasy and there's heresy, right? A heretic and an apostate. An apostate is somebody who rejects Jesus Christ being the Son of God. And if I'm going to become Jewish or I'm going to become Muslim, they don't hold to those tenets. And so if I'm going to leave the church, it's an apostasy.
You know what the word apostasy means?
Well, go ahead, tell us.
Revolt. I like that.
A heretic, on the other hand, is somebody who would still believe in Christ Jesus, but they do not believe.
Maybe.
No. They would believe in Christ Jesus, but they don't believe in everything that the Catholic Church teaches. So for example, if as a baptized Catholic, if I were to leave the Catholic Church and become Episcopalian, I would be considered in the eyes of the church a heretic because I've left the one true faith for something other than that. I would still be in communion with the church, but I'm not in full communion with the church. And either one of those cases, in order for me to come back to the church, would require me to go to confession. Now, that's a long-winded tangent there, but in terms of this particular individual who died, they certainly would have had a right to a funeral mass. And the funeral mass, we have to remember, is as much for the deceased person as it is for the living person, for those that are left behind. There's a healing balm that takes place during any type of funeral mass that is meant to comfort those left behind. But there is also the prayers of the church to remit that soul to the tender mercy of Jesus Christ. So in terms of this particular situation, the person would definitely have a right to be buried within the Catholic Church, even though it might not have been their express wishes. Those who were left behind, who are making the decisions, are certainly okay to do that. Gathering together and offering that Mass up for the happy repose of the soul of that individual is an incredible act of mercy. It's a credible work of mercy. Again, if you want to get back to optics, some people could be, look, that person should never have been buried in the church because they did X, Y, and Z. Man, like, I
sure hope that's not you one day. Yeah,
I don't want to be the person making that call. The other side of that would be, maybe just disappointment or anger at the church for it even being willing to do that.
Yeah.
Again, you go back to a president that might have been controversial in their stance on certain positions and everything, and that president dies and they're Catholic and they have a Catholic funeral. There'd be outrage. People say he shouldn't be buried from the Catholic Church shouldn't do that.
I guarantee you, Joe Biden will be buried from a Catholic church.
Yeah.
And receive a Catholic funeral mass.
Right. We can't do that.
Yeah,
we can't do that.
I agree with everything you're saying. What I would add is that I would not be so influenced to honor the wishes of somebody who made a desire known without full understanding of the implications of it. I mean, if you think of their state of understanding in eternity, whatever that may be, they may not have known the truth on earth, but they certainly have a full understanding in heaven.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a responsibility to provide them what it is that we know they need, and to not get so caught up and influenced on, we have to honor their wishes. Well, their wishes will have certainly changed in light of their
that is true. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Enlightenment. So if anything, I would think they would be begging, if they could, please give me the graces of the funeral mass, please storm in heaven on my behalf. Because once you're dead, you cannot do it yourself any longer. There's nothing you can do. And it's our Christian responsibility to, in our great love for the person, to provide them with what it is that they spiritually need. And they would certainly agree with that in light of their full knowledge of Christ.
Yeah. And just because something is asked for by somebody, just because it's something that they want or that they wish, their last wishes, doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing to do.
Your job is to honor the will of God,
right.
And if the will of men and the will of God are at odds, you have to choose the will of God. And, maybe a family member on earth didn't think that they would have needed a funeral mass. Well, they certainly think they need it now.
Yeah.
So have the funeral mass. And whatever fallout happens within the family because of that, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that your loved one would be grateful for that.
Absolutely. We were kind of all over the place with this particular episode.
But that's what I like. That's what this is my favorite thing to do. I would love to do an episode that's just called Unscripted. And because don't you think we have good conversations?
We always have good conversations.
Right. I think that the podcast every now and then would benefit from let's just see what happens. Because it's kind of like what a coffee talk is. But you told me once upon a time that you could connect anything to Jesus. I really want to see how well you can do that. If you think I already derail conversations, you haven't seen anything
yet. Yeah.
So yeah, if that's something that you would like to see, you let us know. Maybe you would like to hear.
Maybe that would be a good idea. Like, what's the connection to Jesus?
Or just like anything. Have you ever been at a family party and you're talking about one thing and then all of a sudden you enter into a deeply spiritually significant conversation?
Yeah, it happens.
I think that it would kind of be like that. So,
okay.
You know me, I would talk for days. So, not to you, but to other people. But I thought this was fun. And I thought it was, hopefully people learned something about plan your funeral mass, folks. And if you want to make sure you have one, put it in your will.
Yes.
That's what we should do. We'll have end of life planning suggestions next time. Here's the other thing. If, let's say you die and your family does not honor your wishes to have a funeral mass, don't you think God knows what it is that you desired?
Yeah.
And don't you think the God that we have told you about, don't you think he would provide for your needs? So it's not like, oh gosh, what if I don't get what I need? That's not the kind of God we're talking about.
Right. And not only that,
through no fault of your own.
But you are going to have people who are praying for you. I'm just going to go back to my buddy John, who shared with me that whole Padre Pio thing. I pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet for all the deceased members of my family, and I pray for it when I hear about like a friend or a colleague or something like, oh, they're like so and so died and a parishioner died. I just it takes 7 minutes.
Say it at their beds. Say it with us.
Yeah,
say it with Dennis and Christine.
But it's a great way because it just reminds me that there's no time in eternity.
Yesterday, today, forever. There's it's all.
I mean, your loved one
present.
may have died decades ago, but it's as if it was right now, yesterday, tomorrow, and eternity. There's no sense of time. So the prayers that we're doing, even decades removed, will benefit that person in the immediacy of the moment of their death. I'm just blown away by that. That's why praying for the dead is such an important charity in the church, because it matters.
A sure sign of hope.
Yeah.
There's always hope. Why? Because time is irrelevant.
Yeah.
There's always hope.
All right. Well, hopefully there's something there that you can kind of chew on. And if you do have any questions for us, don't hesitate to email us at mmlpodcast@outlook.com.
Right,
and we'll be happy to... Let's see, there's
Sorry,
going to interrupt me.
I thought you were giving me an opening.
And then we'll be happy to... Every single time you were giving me an opening, I tried to get in and then you started again.
Was I really bad today?
No, it wasn't too bad. I'm just being charitable now.
Yeah. Did you just lie to me?
I did.
Oh. So let's start. Dennis, is it ever okay to lie?
All right. I'm out.
God bless. Oh, what did I say? I'm taking your part. Oh. We'll see you next week.
All right. God bless.